Good evening, all. Get in here, get in here, get in here. You're in the right place because it is the last Monday of the month. We are about to begin our distinguished Alumni Speaker Series. Let's take a moment, look around the Zoom room, and if you don't see all of your friends, family members, classmates, or fellow alumni, then you need to send them the link and let them know it is about to go down. This is the place to be. You know you're in all of these chats and WhatsApps. Send them the link. Let them know this is going to be an informative and a fun session. You may ask, who am I? Well, my name is Kadrin Carey, and I am the president of the New Providence chapter of the BTVI Alumni Association. It is my pleasure to serve as your host for this evening. Now, for a little housekeeping, we want to hear from you, and we want to invite you to drop your comments in the chat, or you can email us at alumni@btvi.edu.bs with your feedback or on the session that we're having tonight, and let us know how we can make it more fun or informative. Or if you have an alumni you think that we can spotlight for our next series. Your mics have been muted, but the chat function has been enabled. So you may place your questions and comments in the chat so that we can send your questions in the answer period and let the speaker know. If your cameras are on, we can see you and we can see everything around you. So we strongly suggest that you avoid any mishaps, and you may wish to sit with your backs against the wall. Now, on to the business of this evening. We are happy to see all of you here, and we are even happier to advise that over the next few weeks, we will have even more fun activities going on with BTVI and the Alumni Association. But for now, we will hand it over to Ms. Neely, who will make us feel even more welcome. Ms. Neely?
Good evening. My name is Miss Neely. I am a 2022 alumni and member of the New Providence chapter of the BTVI Alumni Association. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to this session. By attending, you encourage us as an institution, and you encourage us as alumni because we like to show what BTVI graduates can achieve. This speaker series provides an opportunity for us to showcase our alumni and to share their exciting journeys. We welcome the board members, executive, faculty, staff, students, fellow alumni, and friends of BTVI who are here, and we invite you to join in the conversation during the question and answer period. Because we are virtually, you are signed on from anywhere, and we pause to extend a special welcome to those of you who are signing on from your various locations across the globe. Wherever you are in Grand Bahama, like myself, Andres, like Jessica, New Providence, like Jada, and Abaco, like Richiva, we are glad to see you. Now, please pause and drop your name and location in the chat for a chance to win a BTVI giveaway. I ask one more favor. share the link to this meeting and invite a friend. This training is about to leave the station. So take your seat and get ready for another exciting, informative session. You are truly welcome.
Thank you very much, Miss Neely. Did I hear you say thanks, thanks, thanks? Did I hear you say free thanks?
Yes.
You all heard that? Drop your name, drop your location in the chat. You get thanks. Thank you very much. I feel extra welcome. And see, I don't even need to go by Starbucks now. I ready? All right. Thank you very much again, Ms. Neely, for that excellent welcome. Now it gives me great pleasure to invite Ms. Kimberly. She is also a member of the New Providence Alumni Association. She will introduce our illustrious speaker for the evening, followed by Ms. Sayers, who will facilitate our question and answer period. Ladies, I leave it to you.
Protocol having been established, good evening. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce our illustrious and talented speaker for this month's Alumni Speaker Series. In 1985, he enlisted in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force as a Marine recruit and has served in numerous key departments such as Squadron, Supply, Headquarters, Public Relations Section, and Engineering. Some of his duties included that of quartermaster, operations leading hand, and his final assignment in the base maintenance team, where he served as administrator and the head of plumbing section. Our distinguished speaker was hailed as a guardian of our heritage in 2019 when he retired as Chief Petty Officer. He was also recognized by his superiors for his dedication and service during a special ceremony. At this time, he encouraged all present to continue to be positive role models and take advantage of all opportunities afforded them. Retirement catapulted our speaker's love for the construction industry and helping others tap into their true potential. With more than 10 years experience in general construction and maintenance, including various trades such as plumbing, electrical, drywalling, and carpentry, he is presently a plumbing instructor at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. Here, he is a certified NCCER instructor, teaching core curriculum and plumbing modules. Additionally, he is an instructor at the Bahamas Department of Corrections, teaching basic plumbing to maintenance through Citizens for Justice program. This evening's speaker boasts of numerous academic accomplishments. He has earned an associate's degree from the Great Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute in Construction Technology, National Center for Construction Education and Research, NCCER certification in core curriculum, craft curriculum, and evaluator. Electrical certification single phase, plumber's journeyman license, certification in small building construction, certified United States Coast Guard instructor, 30-hour OSHA certified in general construction, and last but definitely not least, he is a proud alumni of St. Augustine's College High School. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to introduce retired Chief Petty Officer, BTVI instructor, and alumni, Mr. Allan Francis.
Blessed good afternoon to everyone. I hope everyone is feeling good and great. I had a long day, but guess what? That doesn't stop me. I am retired Chief Petty Officer Allan Francis, and I graduated from St. Augustine's College back in 1982. From there, I'm going to take my life journeys from there with you all. I was part of the Junior Achievement Program. I was the president of my company, Crafty Creators, and later on became a production advisor for Junior Achievement Company sponsored by Suncraft. Okay, at Suncraft, that was my very first job. Suncraft, some may remember, it was a leather production company, and we crafted female bags as all leather products. Okay, just give me a moment here. Need to admit some persons. Co-host, could you admit those people, please? Thank you. At Suncraft, we produce fine leather goods such as purses, handbags, suit bags, and my most favorite, customized sandals. With that, we actually trace your feet and produce a fitting for you whilst you wait to make sure it's the most comfortable sandals that you would ever had. And the next day, you would return for that finished product. As I go along, I will mention some persons through my career who would have made great impact on me. At Suncraft, it was Mr. Andrew Wilson, President Ambassador Designate to Africa. With him, what used to get me the most, and even the staff, after we would have cleaned up the workshop, he would say, hey, just leave the garbage right there in the middle of the floor. And then he would go through and pick through the garbage that we swept up. Mainly why? Because he found supplies were always running low. And in that heap of garbage, he would find a rivet, a snap, or some other item which we were about to throw away. And these items were not found locally. So could you imagine? You can't finish a bag because of one snap or one rivet. That lesson continuing with me into the construction world, because sometimes you go on a job site, you're working and you can't find one cut nail. You're short that one or two screw to finish the job. So that played an important part in my life. After Suncraft, hey, they paid okay, but I needed more money. I needed a solid job. I needed a government job. So I enlisted in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. At first, that patriotic and all of that for God and for country and queen, that was way down on the list. Okay, I wanted to make a good salary. I started off in food stores. And then in food stores, I had one of the most pivotal points in my career. In food stores, we were also spare crew for other craft. If a boat needed extra crew members or someone was on vacation, we would make up that spare crew. One day when I went on a trip, guess what happened? The first entry of females passed out. Okay, first entry of females graduated. And lo and behold, when I returned from patrol, woman sitting behind my desk. All of my professional belongings was in a brown paper bag to the door, and you could basically say it. They kicked me out of the stores. But I was upset at first, but that was one of the best things that ever happened, because putting me on the boat that they put me on, I became a master seaman. Back in the day, wasn't all that money around to buy $2 and $3 million boats. We had a fleet of vessels that we referred to as captured craft. That means you arrest a Dominican fishing boat or a boat for whatever reason. It's wholesome. What you do is you paint it gray, you paint a number on it, and that now becomes a patrol boat. Okay, on my first patrol boat, we didn't even have a generator. So absolutely no luxuries at all. No fridge, no cooler, no fridge, no freezer. We just had 2 coolers with ice. Okay, when we weren't moving, the engine, when the engine shut off, everything have to shut down, or else you would kill the batteries. All right, and most of all, on this boat, you had 5 bunks, but you had 6 crew members. You had 5 boats, but 6 crew members. So what happened, we practiced the warm bunk, the hot bunk routine. So I relieve you from watch. I roll up my beddings of the bunk, and then you put yours on. Okay, no regular machinery. When we drop anchor, we pull it up by hand. Okay, but being on that boat taught me a lot, because we had a rotation, the seaman of the day. The seaman of the day did everything. The seaman of the day was the designated cook for the day. He was the designated navigator for the day. He was the designated radio operator for the day. So during my career, I had a real solid background and foundation. So I did not have to study for any advancement exams to be promoted. I just did revision because it was already deep inside me. From the P-37 experience, I went into training, audiovisual technician, operating the slide projector, overhead projector, making copies, and so on. Then I went back again onto squadron on HMBS Fenwick Stirrup. From Fenwick Stirrup, I joined the Public Relations Department. With the Public Relations Department, we were the liaison between the Defense Force and the news media. Okay, I did video and photography, which are 2 of my hobbies, and also various press release. During that time in public relations, the Bahamas Press Association actually voted us twice as the best government news agency in the Bahamas. All right. From there, I went to large craft, the HMBS Bahamas. That was a challenge in itself. And believe it or not, sometimes people only know half of your life or half of your story. Okay, everyone was looking for me to retire or resign from the BDF because they thinking, hey, public relation guy, and back then public relation always wear white uniform every day, okay, because we were part of headquarters and the works. So in my whites, they did not know my seamanship background. So they thought I was being afraid of joining the large craft HMBS Bahamas. Actually, what I told them I wish to convene a commission of inquiry because I wanted to know who was keeping all the sweetness from me. On the Bahamas, the boat is fully air conditioned. They have 4 cooks. They have washer and dryer. You have your own bunk. Lone luxury, as far as I know, they have an anchor winch. You don't have to pull the anchor up by hand. You know, persons did not know about my hardship coming up inside the job. On the Bahamas, I got to see just about every island in the Bahamas. Okay, I'm talking about from Freeport right down to Ragged Island, various little rocks and keys. During that time, I was elevated to quartermaster, meaning I was in charge of all of the seamen on board. I was in charge of writing up watches, and making sure everything goes well. It was during this time as well that I started teaching. I went on a few courses locally, boarding course, and the International Maritime Law instructor course. And the way they did it was, instead of sending a lot of people off to the US officials, Coast Guard and Navy would come here, train a few, certify them as instructors, and then we in turn would train local uniform branches. That's where I first got my true love and zest for teaching. On the Bahamas, we did quite a number of firsts. Certain areas, other persons, other commanders, other vessels were afraid to go. We went there. Okay, mainly, we knew what we were doing, and we had some of the best navigators during my time on the Bahamas. Some will beg to differ, but I have the records to show. Also on the Bahamas, we did a lot of boardings, a lot of searching, key searches, and the works. During the hurricane times, that were some of the most taxing and difficult times. I won't say difficult, they were just challenges. Okay, imagine we have to go for hurricane avoidance. That means there isn't a suitable place in the Bahamas for the boat to dock at. No matter where you tie up, you will get a beating from the weather. So what we would do, we would go off into a safe harbor in a nearby country. And at this time, what we did is we actually circled Cuba. We went round, we headed west, come down south, and between Cuba and Jamaica, then came up the back of the hurricane through Inagua. And after that journey, we met the trucks waiting on us at Prince George Wharf for supplies, emergency supplies and relief to go to these struck-in areas. So you're looking at just the entire month of sailing, the entire month. Some people, a lot of persons don't realize the life of a seaman. Okay. I see sometimes other agencies, other ministries could say they would use us as sort of an excuse or reason for them to get whatever they're lobbying for. They'll say, oh, Defense Force got promotions, why we can't? Oh, Defense Force get $1.50 raise, why can't we? But once you're on the Defense Force, once you're on a craft, it's continuous going. You have patrol days from anywhere from 7 to 21 days. And that's at sea. During that time, whatever happens, you're part of that crew. You have to react. You have to take your post. Sometimes you would just come off a watch and then a vessel is spotted. You have to get up again, board, or whatever your post is. So when you're out to sea, that's a 24-hour job. Imagine working 24 hours for 21 days. Oh, and there's no such thing as overtime in the Defense Force. Okay, so when persons say they should get this because of that, I'm sure that they're justified. but it'd be good if they don't use the force as their yardstick or whatever. That's one of the things that has got to me. The thing is, I love what I do, I accept it, and that's it. I don't want to do anyone else's job. And I'll tell you something, if it teaches, I've learned to respect and appreciate right down to my grade 1 classroom teacher because of the things that I am now experiencing in the profession. Some of the good persons that have steered me well in defense force, I like to call names because I like to acknowledge people. You have your Hubert Smith, Anthony Hanna, Lloyd Ferguson, Andrew Johnson, and most of all, the present Commodore. Present Commodore Raymond King, we sailed together. And I'll tell you this, he's a master mariner. We go in certain areas, I see he pull out a chart, look like he borrowed that from Columbus. Two years ago, December 10th, I was honorably discharged from that great organization. And I don't regret a day spending there at all. It's taught me a lot, dedication, commitment, and the works. Now, bringing me up to this segment of my life. Why am I here? 2008, I obtained a plumbing certificate from BTVI. That's all I did, just the plumbing. Okay. I was interested, and it sparked interest for me to learn some more during that time, after I got my plumbing certificate, I was job changed to the base maintenance team of the Defense Force, where I was directly in charge of plumbing, which included all land-based plumbing. You looking at the Defense Force was a ex-mariner, okay, so it's a hotel. So altogether, I was responsible for keeping some 100 water closets operational. You have about 120 basins, that's your face basins. Then you have 6 to 8 deep wells. Okay, your deep wells, we don't have cesspits there. You have deep wells which could handle a much bigger load. In 2015, I graduated with an associate's degree in construction technology from BTVI. I'm going to be honest with you. When I first came to BTVI in 2008, I look around and how should I put this? In some cases, it seemed like some people thought it just to be a daycare center. Parents had to go to work, their children graduated from high school, they wanted someplace for them to be. That is the furthest thing from the truth, okay? When I joined BTVI in the construction field, the associate degree, first of all, let me tell you, is recognized just about worldwide. BTVI is saying something for those who don't know it. You could go anywhere with that associate's degree and it's be recognized. Several persons went on to New England College, Rhode Island College, and got their bachelor's and even master's in construction engineering just off that, with that associate degree being the foundation. Some of the subjects that are taught in that course, and you know it, I opened my eyes when I saw my list of subjects. You have things like humanities, sociology, algebra. You have computerized accounting. Okay, you have your drywall, your business maths, roofing 1 and 2, just a whole list of college subjects. One of the things is, I heard someone say, and they was in the media with this. They actually said, we need to cut back from teaching all of this maths and science that you never use when you graduate. I don't think that person passed out of high school. But I'll tell you this, you cannot live without maths and science. Do not think the construction trade is for dummies. You're gonna get a big and a rude awakening. Because believe it or not, everything you do is maths and science. If you come into plumbing, if you don't have the vent in the proper place or the proper size, it's gonna back up. And you know where that theory come from, where all of that come from? It comes from the physics, the same one with the tin, the cream can. You have to have 2 holes in the cream can for water to flow, right? Simple physics, you need to know that. The human body, the economics, I know a lot of big words and can't pronounce them. The human body, your steps. If you have to walk up a stairway and look down, that stairway is built wrong. The human body lifts its foot at a certain height and it pushes it forward at a certain distance. Those are the things you need to know. Angles. We use angles in trigonometry, everyday life. When you parallel park, I know all of you all are drivers. That's an angle you're going in there at, right? Parallel parking, everyday stuff, maths in English, okay? And one of the biggest things over in my teaching experience, particularly with all high school, we don't know fractions. People can't add fractions. You need to know what is 1 foot, 8 inches, plus 3 foot, 4 inches. Then you need to know what is 3/4 plus 2/4. And my way of explaining, particularly with the quarters, I normally tell my students, hey, think of money. 3/4, if you have 3/4, that's 75 cents. Then you have 2 more quarters, then what you got? $1.25. So 3/4 and 2/4. Fine. Okay. It's a way of getting things, your point, over to everyone. But BTVI is great, honorable institution, and everything. I started teaching for BTVI back in 2018 for a great project named the Citizens for Justice. Okay, that's a project sponsored by the International Development Bank, and it runs at the Department of Corrections. Okay, we have plumbing, electrical, barbering, and a few others. So you teach the inmates marketable skills where when they are released, they could go and apply for a job. As a matter of fact, I employ, not fully employ, but when I have a job, there are 2 that I call on who were in my plumbing class. And I'll tell you a joke. I just finished a plumbing job in Curl Vista. I did the pressure test on the water pipes, and there was a leak. And guess who made that joint where the leak was? Me. Okay, the plumbing student, his work was perfect. Okay, it was my joint that leaked. I'm also part-time with the PDC instructor, the professional development course. You are persons, do-it-yourselfers, who would just like to fix things around home. There are others that wants to use it as a jump start into the profession. I had one star student. I was trying to get her to come on to join me today, but she must have changed her number. Little Miss Johnson, she texted me one day, Mr. Francis, look at this. Her aunt was doing an extension on the house and she showed me the plumbing. She said, she told her aunt, this plumber don't know what he's doing. This pipe isn't in the right place. This pipe isn't this and that. She showed me the video and lo and behold, she was right. Okay, so I didn't even realize she took it, the plumbing trade, that deep. But right now, she has started a business. She's doing okay. And last time I heard from her, she was plumbing out some cottages back home in Andres, where she is from. Okay. In addition, also have the NCCER. That's the certification from Florida College, and it's good to have. It's straightforward and it's detailed. One of the things, what happens with us in this country, we don't take certification too serious. You could be a master, whatever, but if you don't have the papers to back it, nothing's happening. That big contract, you're gonna have to get someone else with papers to sign off on you. Okay? So don't care how good of a carpenter you are, don't care how good of a plumber, electrical person you are. That's one of the things that people are going to ask before they give you that big contract. They want to see some papers. Okay? And you could get certification in just about anything. They're professional certified painters. You all know that, right? And guess what the painters have to know? They're dealing with paint, so they're exposed to a certain level of chemistry. They need to know how to mix this and that, and then to get precise colors, they need to know how and when to apply it for during certain temperatures. So all of that you need to know. And the biggest thing is, you learn as you go. You learn as you go. I went to SAC, and I don't know, I believe I might have used that as a social experience. I just really start learning and my mind really opening as I grew older and as I experienced things. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna end there so we could get these questions in.
Mr. Francis, a pleasant good evening to you. My name is Jetta Says, and I'm the secretary of the Nassau chapter of the New Providence at BTVI. Yeah. And it was a pleasure sitting here just listening to your introduction first. I got lost, I think, after Kim said administrator, or I think plumbing. And then after that, everything just started to just go into so many different transitions. It seems that you are a very diversified individual and you know a whole lot about a whole lot of things. It will be my pleasure as a student of this body to say this to you. It would be my pleasure to see you full-time as an instructor in not only one area, but maybe probably in another area, because it's so much to glean from you. I do have a few questions. And one of my first questions for you, and I'm going to also be taking questions from individuals in the chat as well. Did you ever think when you started your career that you would ever end up in the trades and now teaching in the construction trade that you're now teaching in?
Was the furthest thing from my mind. And the funny thing is this, I don't know. I believe I ain't finished growing up yet. Because you know, people is asked what you want to be when you grow up. There's still a lot of things, but one of my biggest things, once I got into construction, my dream job is a maintenance manager. I always look at managing, let's say a 20, 50 unit condominium project. And this after it's built and everything. But construction was the furthest thing from me. I actually was a wedding photographer and all once. So never saw myself in this position at all.
Okay, you've had several jobs during your lifetime. What advice would you give a young person that is trying to matriculate into a career and he or she cannot make a choice as to exactly what career path they should choose?
With that, the main thing is to get a start. The main thing is to get a start. And once you get started, find out what you like. I know it's being said a lot. Find out what you like. Find out all of the avenues that goes along with it. And one of the things I find people don't do proper research in looking for a job. Sometimes it might not be the job that you fully like, but if you could stand it, guess what? You might be able to get hired for that position quicker than the position you would like to have, for the job you would like to have. So find out what the job market needs first, and you could eventually work into that position.
Okay, I'm looking in the chat and I don't see any questions as yet from any of our audience or any of the viewers. So I will ask another question while I wait to see if I will get questions from persons in the audience. And my other question for you, sir, is what was one of the major benefits that you derived from BTVI? Because I know we come into an institution such as this, and at times I know getting that degree, we are after just, getting in there, getting a trade and just getting out. But there has to be one important benefit that you would like the audience to know that you derive from BTVI.
I would say the level of the professionalism from the staff and my instructors in pushing me while I was there. Okay, one of the things is a lot of people need that extra push, that extra guidance. So what I got from BTVI, I wanted to give back. I wanted to help those persons who would have come in and struggle a bit in certain things. So I have a way of presenting situations. So all of that helped me to decide to go along that teacher path from everything that I would have gathered and got from the instructors and the staff here.
Okay, I have a question from Miss Irina Key. And that question, sir, is which career path was most exciting to you out of all of the careers that you've done?
I would say the Defense Force. Most exciting in terms of you do not know what tomorrow holds. As a matter of fact, sometimes you do not know what the next hour holds. I remember one patrol, the patrol was over, everyone came back, we had a successful patrol, got your time off, and this was a Sunday. And everyone went home to the family, get the Sunday dinner, probably sleep in your own bed for the first time in 14 days. So you know that was a nice sleep. And guess what? Something happened out to sea, and we were the most available vessel right there and then. We still had supplies on board, we still had fuel, so they called in the crew, and we were back out to sea in the next 10 to 12 hours. So on the Defense Force, the most excited. And a lot of people join and don't realize this. Once you're on the Defense Force, you are on the Defense Force, you are a Marine. If you have an office job, at any moment, you may have to leave your desk and go out to sea. As a matter of fact, we have a law that every person should have with them at all times 3 days supply of clothes. So you don't even have to go home to say, oh, you need to pack. The boat is ready. Let's set sail.
Okay. I have a question for you. What do you think is the key to your success, and what would you term as success? Another person in the chat would have asked that question. I think that's Rashad Moxie. But what would you say is the key to you being successful?
Never giving up and turning your negatives into positives. One of this was when I got job change, when the females came on board. You know, that door was closed for me so I could go to sea and experience the real sea, and it opened a bigger door. Then another thing is sometimes advancement. Everyone look at promotions and whatnot. Sometimes you don't get promoted. Sometimes things happen in such a way. Sometimes things just happen for reasons. Okay, but I turn my positives, my negatives into positives.
Okay, Central Neely is saying in the chat that you are master motivator. And I truly believe that you are for the individuals that are in the audience at this time, and also for myself. I have a question from Rashay Wright from Apico. She's asking me if you teach plumbing at BTVI. And if you recall on the onset, when I asked your questions and answers, I said that you offer so much. So I'm pulling you in as a student of BTVI. I would love to see you in BTVI instructing, but are you going to come over full time?
Actually, I just had a letter of appointment for the Ministry of Education to teach plumbing at CC Sweden. And I had graciously declined that because guess what? I landed my dream job 3 weeks ago. At present, I'm the campus manager at St. Andrew's School. So the full time at BTVI, I too again have to respectfully decline for now. But
Okay.
depending on schedules and whatnot, the evening and Saturday PDCs and NCCER, I definitely would find some time if needed.
Okay. I do have a question from Vanessa Hyler. What was the hardest part of your journey, and how did you overcome it?
One of the hardest part was dealing with people. I could be honest with you, dealing with people. Well, the Defense Force prepare me for that a lot, in that there are a lot of characters. There are people of different backgrounds and everything. You have to know how to deal with people. And BTVI also helped in my humanities and sociology classes. A lot of people don't know how far those classes takes you, okay? And speaking of people, to my family island folks out there, give me a family island. I don't want anyone to get offended now, but give me a family island person over a Nasuvian any day. Why? Because the way they grew up and their logic. I used to always tell the guys on the boat, some of them, they're still washing the bottom window first. Okay, when you wash the bottom window first, you know what happens.
Yes.
Okay, but dealing with people, and the thing is this, even on my present job, you find that persons will try to get the better of you. They try to swing you, actually. Let me not dress it up. But sometimes you have to dip in, and sometimes you have to dip out, and getting them to understand that. Okay? Yes, you have kids, you have a family, you need some time to go shopping, you need some time to do this and that. Family comes first before the job, I think, but you need your job to maintain your family. So I can let you go, deal with your family, but remember, when I need you to put in those extra hours, I don't want you to complain. It's time now to dip out, to dip in.
Thank you so much, Mr. Allan Francis. Indeed, you are an inspiration for many, as KS in the chat says. Vashti Thompson said, this is so powerful. Indeed, on all levels, this is powerful. We knew you were coming, but we did not know what to expect. And indeed, my mind has been blown away by the matriculation of the fact that you operated in so many different careers. You advanced. Not only did you advance, but when you transitioned, you were successful at what you did. And so the question and answer period has now ended. And I turn it right back to you, President Catherine Carey.
Simply astonishing. I really liked how you were able to use, I would say, common layman's terms in order for you to reach your students. I mean, I'm slightly hurt. I would like to recognize Dr. Linda Davis, our interim president, who is here, that, you know, you won't be at BTVI. And I also thought I saw our AVP colleague from Freeport. She is here also. I don't know if Dr. Davis has a few moments. She wants to just chime in and say good evening. Dr. Davis, are you there? No, okay, I don't think she's there. But I'd like to just recognize her and Ms. Colley. It was very interesting, and I was riveted by the stories from the Defense Force. I was getting really intrigued with them. I wanted to chime in and ask you about those searches on the keys, but I think that would take us off topic. So we had a very interesting evening, and I think you had a very interesting life. I don't even think you've reached a half point yet. So this is going to be interesting. I think in the next few years we may call on you again for you to continue your ever evolving story. So I would like to tell everybody, we still have two more days for the Distinguished Alumni. We still are taking nominations for that. That closes on October 31st. So you still have a chance to get those nominations in. You can still email the nominations at alumni@btvi.edu, or you can call at 502-6321 to get your alumni information. Or we always have the alumni memorabilia, the alumni branded items. They're there at BTVI. Those can be purchased. And I would say this was an exciting evening. It's always, I think, a great thing to listen to someone's life experience, and you get to just walk in their shoes for a few brief minutes and just, listen to them. So I would like to say thank you very much for everyone who was here. And I think it was a very exciting evening. And we were recording, so this is going to be on YouTube. And I was given some information that I will look into for that person. We were talking in a private chat, so I'm definitely going to look into that. So ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another alumni series. This recording this evening will be uploaded to YouTube for easy access. So have yourself a great evening and see you next month, same time, same place. And you have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Okay.
Good
Take
night.
care. Okay.
Good night.
Oh, everybody leave? I'm so sorry. We did have a recording that we wanted to play, but I think everyone has left. No, okay. We're gonna play it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Ooh, see, that's the defense plus thing I was telling you about. Very nice, Mr. Francis.
Thank you,
All
Allan.
right.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night again.